In the second half of 2025, the global economy was hit by an unprecedented shock. The U.S. administration suddenly and comprehensively changed its foreign trade policy, deciding to impose high new tariffs on imports in strategic sectors. This decision directly affected many global economic partners, not only China but also the European Union, South Korea, Brazil, and Canada. The fear that trade wars could flare up again was enough to shake all markets. The Washington administration announced this move on the grounds of protecting national security, increasing strategic independence, and defending American manufacturers against external threats. New tariffs, especially in sectors like steel, semiconductors, automotive, batteries, solar panels, and medical devices, reached rates varying from 25% to 100%. The U.S. Treasury declared the decision a policy move to encourage domestic production and reduce foreign dependency. However, global analysts interpreted it as the start of a new protectionist wave. China was the country hit hardest by the tariffs. Especially additional taxes on high-tech products affected more than 40% of China's exports to the U.S. The Beijing administration described the move as an economic pressure tool and announced retaliatory measures. It didn't take long for China to respond by raising tariffs on some American agricultural products and aviation parts. This tension between the two giant economies created a fresh wave of uncertainty in global supply chains. Even the U.S.'s traditional allies could not remain unaffected by this decision. Countries like Germany, Japan, and South Korea suffered significant blows in their car, technology, and energy equipment exports. The European Commission called the move unilateral and contrary to international trade law and made an official complaint to the World Trade Organization. Canada and Mexico were also affected by the new tariffs, causing tension within the framework of USMCA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. Even the foundations of regional integration began to be shaken by these policies. Immediately after the announcement, global stock markets experienced sharp fluctuations. While shares of technology and industrial companies fell, a rapid appreciation of the dollar put significant pressure on the currencies of developing countries. There was a rush towards gold and crypto assets. As investors sought safe havens, uncertainty in the real sector increased. Supply chains were restructured, but it was not an easy process. Production costs rose, logistics plans unraveled, and global growth forecasts were revised downward. One main focus of the new tariff decisions was advanced technology products. The U.S. sought to end foreign dependency in strategic goods such as semiconductors, electric vehicle batteries, AI chips, and renewable energy equipment, effectively trying to deter imports in these fields. This directly affected many Asian countries, notably Taiwan and South Korea. Especially Taiwanese chip giants had to increase production costs for the U.S. market. This development carried the potential to cause long-term problems in technology supply. The impact of the tariffs wasn't limited to producer and exporter countries. Multinational companies were forced to restructure their supply chains. Some considered relocating production to countries like Vietnam, India, and Indonesia. But this brought new problems: lack of logistics capacity, imbalance in raw material supply, and rising insurance costs extended production times. The global market began to evolve into a fragmented structure. The concept of trade wars once again became central to the agenda. Behind these radical decisions lay not only foreign trade policy, but also domestic political balances. As the 2026 presidential elections approached, the U.S. administration revived protectionist policies to reduce unemployment rates and win back votes in industrial regions. However, experts pointed out that while this strategy might create a positive impact in some areas in the short term, it could trigger inflation and strain diplomatic relations with allies in the long run. This decision created a domino effect in the global economic system. Other major economies started debating similar measures to protect their own industries. Internal discussions began in the EU, China, India, and South Korea. Will we also defend our economies with tariffs in the New World Order? If this approach spreads, the era of global free trade might give way to a new age of protectionism surrounded by tariffs. This reminded many of the economic bloc formations and post-Great Depression trade policies of the early 20th century. U.S. global tariffs seem set not only to reshape today's economic balance, but also to shape future trade paradigms. New alliances, alternative supply routes, and regional trade blocs may emerge in strategic areas such as technology, energy, agriculture, and defense industries. The world economy may shift from a single-centered system to a more multipolar and regionally focused model. However, this transition will be painful. The US's move is not just a trade decision, but an earthquake that shakes, questions, and reshapes the very foundations of the global system. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with the latest developments. Like this content if you found it interesting, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your support means a lot to us.